Welcome to the Sleuth Intuition YouTube channel. Sit back, relax and chillax for a few.
Just take it easy, man.
You know, that's your answer for everything, dude.
Now just go, oh. What? Do it, man. Oh, 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 shit.
Don't be a scrub.
No scrubs?
Hit the thumbs up. Welcome to the Sleuth Intuition YouTube channel. Sit back, relax and chillax for a few.
Just take it easy, man.
You know, that's your answer for everything, dude.
Now just go, oh. What? Do it, man. Oh, 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 shit.
What is up? Can you guys hear me loud and clear? We're going to try to do this OBS style today. I did pin the call-in link if anybody's interested in joining the live stream here up on the screen. Feel free to use that link, call in at any point. Today we're just going to hang out, take some questions in the chat, take some questions, and then as a group do our best to try to answer these questions. This case here, the Delphi case, is extremely confusing. Seems to be a very thin line between fact and fiction when dealing with this case. Teresa, you're into them conspiracy theories, huh? Me too. Me too. Purdue, Jim, Bird Blue, what's up? Jill? Jill, what was going on over there at by the bridge the other day? Good old Brad catching some more trespassers. Just think about all the videos we watch where people are like going down the hill and onto his property. There's got to be an easement there at some point, though. I think if you go down that hill and stay next to where the bridge is, I mean, legally, there's got to be an easement there all the way till you get to the creek. And then once you get to the creek, there should be another easement, I believe, of about 2 feet, 2 to 6 feet, if I'm not mistaken. So legally, you should be able to go down that hill down next to the bridge and then walk that entire creek if you wanted to. So I'm sure people that go fishing, I wouldn't doubt it if people don't walk that entire creek from Wilson Bridge all the way to Monon High Bridge. Joanne, welcome. So I think I have some of those images here. Let's take a look. So it says here, here's the signs on the lane before you get to the area where the trespassers parked and left their truck and walked to the bridge. They were encountered by the bridge before law enforcement was called. Okay, so that means that he confronted them near the bridge, which is kind of strange. And I get the whole trespassing thing. But at the same time, you know, there's people that take things way too far. So, I mean, it's obvious you have an issue. This is not the first time that he's been questioned about holding people against their will. Yes, trespassing is extremely wrong. But there's been some people that have killed people for trespassing, and then they end up going to prison because you can't do that. Now, if somebody's breaking into your home, depending on what state you live in, it's a different story. You know, sometimes it makes you wonder what motivates somebody to kill somebody. You know, maybe somebody who's very territorial. you know. But yeah, you can't miss these signs. And then I also think I saw a deer cam, if I'm not mistaken. See if I still got that one. Oh, yeah, here it is. So I think this is the deer cams might be by the actual bridge. Now, one time, I think Randy said it was all busted out. I don't know. The whole talk about the cross stuff, I mean, who knows? Um, I don't buy into it. I've actually taken the time. When somebody says something outlandish, I'm the kind of guy right away that I'm like, I don't like to, just walk over things or brush over things without really taking a look, And that's what I did. And I didn't see anything of substance. But that's just my opinion. I'm not, I'm not trained in image analysis or law enforcement or criminology or any of that stuff. Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. Well, he said that's where they parked. So I'm assuming they parked outside of the private drive or maybe inside the private drive and then maybe try to not go too far in. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the whole story. What? What channel was what on? Joanne Joan has a question here. Did I imagine hearing about a lady who lives near the bridge actually seeing A and L, Abby and Libby, with some boys that day? I think her dogs alerted her to passersby. Is that true? I'm not exactly sure. I know that there's been reference to somebody who contributed to the older looking sketch. And Kim Riley kept slipping up saying she, but now we're no longer, the older sketch is secondary. So if she's contributing to that, maybe she was either providing false information. Maybe they found out she was providing information from a searcher early on who happened to cross the bridge. She said, I had a conversation with somebody. Who knows who it was? Maybe they've already identified that person. But I think it all started with the Facebook post of a lady early in this. And I remember seeing this very early on, popped up in some of the first Delphi Facebook groups. And the lady was saying, yeah, for some reason, I remember her saying she was looking out her window. Like she said, she just happened to be looking out and she saw Abby and Libby walking, and shortly behind were two, I think she even referred to them as teenage boys with hoodies on. So I don't know if she is a protected witness now, if those guys were identified. We don't know what happened. Girls got there like what, 1:30, 1:15ish. They didn't encounter Bridge Guy until 2:13. So, they could have been running around with some of their own friends for a little while. So you never know. Maybe those people were identified and nothing came of it. Joanne, yeah, that's how I remember it. And then poof, You know, out came a first presser where Kim Riley was, kept slipping up saying she, and then boom, all her stuff disappeared. I didn't hear anything about her. And then the rumor mill started with stuff coming from Greeno about, potentially there being a dog lady who was a witness who was actually the one who said, I'm not quite sure what the color of the eyes were. All I know is that they were not blue. So I have a feeling that the dog lady and the window lady may have gotten smashed together and processed in the rumor mill and, spit out for reproduction. There's been a lot of rumors lately about a backpack, possibly a person changing clothes, somebody goofing around in all black clothes, and then changing. So, I mean, if this is a planned murder, think how easy that would be. All you really would need would be a pair of jeans, some shoes, a jacket, and a hat that never belonged to you. Put that on over your clothes, commit the murder, take everything that's covered in blood off, and probably, I mean, honestly, just leave it there. Maybe they have the clothes. And maybe that's why they're so confused, because they have all this DNA off the clothes. And when they asked Tobe, hey, do you have the killer's DNA? He's like, I don't know. They don't know where did the killer acquire the clothes? Were they the killer's clothes to begin with? Were they a family member's clothes? I mean, who knows? Maybe the killer finished, took all the clothes off, and just left them there. Kind of like a hitman. He'll just leave, a gun that he knows is untraceable. He doesn't want to be caught with it on him, so he just leaves it right at the crime scene. I know you've all seen the movie The Godfather, where Michael Corleone, he has to take care of business for the first time, and they teach him, just open your hand, leave the, and then you question it. Why would you leave, evidence there? It's not evidence. If anything, if you're found with it, it's going to tie you to the crime. Not real. Why would he not be real? I don't know what's going on with these sketches, Nadia. Like this one here, the older man sketch. This was created basically, they found, from a mixture of eyewitness testimony, probably a little bit of this one too, mixed in there. But Holman said at CrimeCon that he believes one or two of the witnesses saw him and another searcher when he arrived around 4:45, 5-ish. Or even Cody Patty, who happened to be there, I think, around 4:30-ish, even possibly sooner. So they made that one secondary. So not sure what to think about these sketches. I just think they don't want to give away maybe some of their sources, the way they're gathering information. Maybe they have undercover agents. Maybe they have sting operations. Maybe they have somebody who's actually in contact right now with, let's say, Anthony Schatz. Who knows? See, Jill, that's where it gets kind of iffy. Like, where do you draw the line? Like, first of all, you're not supposed to trespass. So let's make that clear. Okay. Well, obviously, some people are not realizing that and they're still beginning to trespass. If you watch all these videos, Julie, Melvin, all the YouTubers who've gone down there have trespassed on his property. I don't believe that any of them should be shot with a shotgun. Now, if they want to get fined, get charged, that's up to Delphi and the county and the property owner, I guess. It's like, where do you draw the line? Now, if you're in somebody's home, that's a different story. That's kill or be killed. But we're talking a large property, very popular property, a very infamous property, notorious even. But I can definitely understand the frustration of a property owner. You put up all these signs and cameras and do your best, and still, people are determined to trespass on your property. I guess at that point, you just get a big dog. That's what I would do, I guess. Maybe some booby traps. Maybe get some motion activated like sprinklers or something that have like dye inside of them, so it ruins your clothes. Accidental homicide, yeah. But why would you cover up something that was accidental? Unless you panicked, tried to make it look like something it wasn't. On a creator's channel last night, the creator said Greeno also said one of the girls was killed at midnight. How would Greeno know that? I don't know. I've never heard Greeno say that. Teresa's like, I ain't fucking around. Yeah, no, I don't. It's one thing to hold somebody at gunpoint who's trespassing, and it's another to shoot them, Where you draw the line? When do you become the bad person? You know what I mean? Exactly, Jim. And that might be exactly what that property owner wants. Maybe that bridge pisses him off. Think about it. If you're that territorial and then you have this public bridge that is basically giving the world access, like you couldn't find a better runway into your property than that bridge. You know what I mean? It just makes me question it. If you get that frustrated over it, because this isn't the first time. I've heard some horror stories. Like women like feeling very scared, and it's always women. All these guys have been trespassing on there. You've never heard one story, but this is the second story where I've heard it was two girls. I didn't see anybody come bum rush Greeno or Michael and his crew, So I guess it's, so it's just strange that it's always these women, Why is that? In this original story that I heard, these two ladies were terrified. What's up, Jules? Mind shock. You got to take all that information, just like anything else, with a grain of salt. Who knows? I mean, to me, it has to be looked at. You know, especially when law enforcement says, well, we think this person's local. Okay. And if nobody's seen him get away, why not? So now you have this person attacking women. Well, not attacking, but choosing to take action against women who are trespassing and no others, apparently. Don't get me wrong, he had every right to, but it also, in my eyes, I'm allowed to be suspicious too, you know? I have an outside perspective. I reserve that right, just like that person reserved the right to take his actions. From what I understand, there was no charges and a warning was issued. Well, if you're going to keep giving these trespassers warnings, then they're going to keep doing it. That's all I'm saying. Well, I guess that's the way trespassing works, right? They trespass you, they let you go, and then if you come back with that trespassing on your record, then now you're in trouble. That's what I'm saying, Nadia. It's possible. It's not likely. To be honest, the most likely thing is Keegan went and did this shit on his own. People all of a sudden want to act like they know who that person is. You're going to go online. Okay, first of all, you know the guy's a catfish, right? So you're going to go online and you're going to look at all his catfish accounts to try to disseminate like who this person really is. That doesn't make sense at all. So just keep in mind, we don't know anything about that dude. Could be a cold-blooded killer. TSM, what's that? Yeah, they also said not related to social media. And then when they served a search warrant on the clients and media asked them, they said, we found nothing. Well, the question is, you may not have found anything to search, but you must have found something or you wouldn't be searching to begin with. So what did you find? Oh, nothing. Just this, this account, Anthony Schatz, belongs to this guy, Keegan, who was talking to Libby the day of. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that right now, though. Even though we're not arresting him, and we actually did find a bunch of stuff, a lot of child porn, ties to Vegas, some drug dealers, stuff like that. Yeah, but we didn't find anything. So people are always like, oh, you got to listen to law enforcement. Well, I don't know them either. I know some law enforcement can't be trusted. That much I know. So I don't know these people. Oh, and I can't remember who was asking me. Somebody was asking me to find this video of this right here. Let's take a look at that. This guy. See that guy walking back there? I think he's a police officer. But he kind of has the swagger and walk of the bridge guy. So I was like, what the hell? Let's take a closer look at this guy. Let's see here. Does anybody know who this guy is? What's that thing on his hip? Is that his holster? Yeah, and this guy has like some stuff kind of hanging around his neck like a scarf. Hmm. Just thought I would share that. Nothing really. And also, if somebody wants to give it a try, on the RTV6 chopper footage, apparently there's some radio chatter, if you listen closely, going on with the actual crew that's on that helicopter. And you can hear people reaching out to them. And at one point, they tell them, hey, be careful. Do not come near, just past the cemetery because the bodies are exposed. So that's something that I've been working on. I can hear it just fine, but I just can't break it down to where it's presentable. I don't have the audio software to do it. So if anybody wants to give that a go, so I guess it's proof that they really weren't found, that they really were found around like 12-ish, because the radio chatter that you hear from the chopper, they state that clearly. They even give an officer's name. Officer something has requested or wanted me to inform you that when you're coming near the cemetery, that just past the cemetery, that the girls' bodies are exposed. So you can hear that clearly. There's a whole bunch of other chatter stuff on there that might give us some clues. Have at it. For real, says it's possible BG has passed, and if anybody did know of him, they've decided not to speak, thinking it would do more harm and perhaps create more victims. I mean, we really don't know, but I think he's alive and well. I think he's very paranoid. Still not sure what motivated this killer. Right now, it seems to be possibly revenge or some type of mean teen revenge. Something personal. And that's just from what we read in the Ron Logan affidavit. Let's see if I have that handy. Jill asked, was that video from the 13th or the 14th? It was from the 14th, around 11ish. So the Ron Logan probable cause affidavit says it was also discovered that the redacted of one of the victims was missing from the crime scene while the rest of their clothing was recovered. It also appeared the girls' bodies were moved and staged. Based upon my training and experience, it is common for perpetrators of this type of crime to take a souvenir or in some fashion memorialize the crime scene, whether by photos or electronic or digital methods that are then downloaded onto computers, storage devices, tablets, phones, iPad devices, or other electronic devices that store digital data for later viewing, scanning, or copying. So something at the crime scene led them to believe the crime scene was being memorialized. So I'm wondering if the signatures are more elaborate than we think. LG and AW had no visible signs of a struggle or fight. So right there, that makes me think that they were somehow tricked, either by a cunning sadist or tricked by somebody they knew and trusted. Maybe a young friend, love interest, or a group of young girls even, with the help of an older male. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators located unknown fibers and unidentified hairs, which may later be used for comparison of similar fibers or hairs. So that's why I believe that. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe there was a group of men already under the bridge, because you can actually go under the bridge and apparently crawl up in there and hide if you wanted to. You know? So there could have been a group of teens hiding under there, maybe smoking some pot, doing some drugs. And here comes the bridge guy, showing up with some alcohol or maybe they were just all waiting there for the girls. A public art critic has a question. Why are we worried about the bridge guy, but law enforcement don't seem that bothered? And more importantly, Carter did not claim the girls were heroes to take that footage. Yeah, Burson says the wherewithal, the presence of mind. So he's saying, like, the moment she realized, like, oh shit, like, that's not Anthony Schatz. I don't know who that is, but apparently we've been catfished. Boom. Pull out the phone. I don't know what we're going to do. What are we going to do? And then before you know it, boom, you're already under control. What's up, Bruce? What's up, Tommy? The Guy Bridges. All these trolls, the fake bridge guys, the Beleth Gremeries, Gingerbread Man. I mean, who does shit like that? Weird. Armchair Observer says, seems like locals have given up or just don't seem interested in solving this. They have a park named after the girls. The family is on Dr. Phil. Otherwise, zero local interest. Yeah, and that could be the case. They just want to move on, That's why sometimes when I see Carrie, I see that she still has that same look in her eye that she did from day one. Like it doesn't seem like it's left. Like she's still pissed. Not to say the others aren't. I'm just saying I can clearly see it in her eyes that she is mad as hell. She's not moving on from anything. What's up, Deb? Oh, shout out to Vermilion Windmere for the $3 super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sunshine Kick says motive is the missing piece. I agree completely. Yeah, what would motivate somebody to do this? The best we can do is look at similar crimes and see what may have motivated them now that they've captured the killer, and pay close attention, to what the killer's saying to gain insight. And we've been doing plenty of that. But hey, Miss Persevere, how you doing? So Miss Persevere was our caller that we revisited in regards to kind of trying to explain away a good tip. Awesome call. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. And Miss Persevere, if you want to let us know what happened, that'd be nice. Maybe just let us know in the chat. If you want to call, line is always open to you. Yeah, because I believe Tobe Lesenby had ownership, or the sheriff's office had ownership, so I can see that being the case. I know when they were having that meeting and they were asking him, like, you need to explain yourself. Like, why is this case going? Like, what have you been doing with all the funds? And he's just like, I don't know. He just doesn't seem very open to the idea of bringing new eyes to the table. So maybe he's been the problem the whole time. Yeah, the FBI was actually we're doing some raids regarding some child porn and drug charges of people in Kokomo. Looks like we have a caller. Give me one moment. Hello, Bean. Are you there?
Yes.
Hi. How are you doing? What's
I'm
going on?
I'm not much. I'm just calling in since Deb won't. I figured I would.
Because Deb won't.
Yeah.
That's funny. How's it going?
It's going good, thank you.
What's on your mind?
Well, I'm just calling in. I'm thinking there might be an arrest soon.
You think so?
I think so. I think if it doesn't happen soon, I think they just don't have enough.
What would is it just your instincts or your gut telling you that, or you just
My gut's telling me this.
okay? I mean, that would be very awesome if that happened.
It will be.
What are you gonna do when that happens? Are you gonna celebrate? You're gonna
Uh,
reach out? Like, what do you think?
I think I will celebrate and reach out to just all the people that believe that it's going to happen, and I don't know, I guess just celebrate. But
Did
then
you ever
too, I'm not sure.
follow?
Or go ahead.
I was gonna ask if you ever followed the Richard Ramirez case.
No, I haven't.
Well, he was a serial killer out of California. When they caught him, like the whole neighborhood and the whole city was after this guy, right? So once they finally caught him, it took like people to hold off the crowd from getting to this guy. So I can't wait for the public shaming of this person.
Oh, I know, me either.
You know, the what do they call it? A perp walk, I think.
Probably. And the person that I'm thinking that it is, I keep seeing him around town now that he doesn't work anymore. And I just want to, took me, I had to hold back on even saying something to him the other night when I seen him.
Oh, so you're that local.
Little bit.
Wow.
But I've
Can
never
you give
been
us?
to Delphi. I've only just driven through there.
Oh, okay. So one of the outside cities there is who the person you're referring to, like a Lafayette
Yes.
or a Logansport or something like that.
Or maybe at Peru.
Oh, Peru. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we all know who's from Peru.
That's right. So, and I've seen video of him at certain locations here in town, and he wears his sunglasses. I mean, nothing against people who wear their sunglasses, but he just like everywhere he goes in, he has his sunglasses on, and in one business he was like creeping in a corner and just kind of being kind of mellow, but never really acting out when he's in there. He's just picking up his stuff and leaving.
Wow. And he recently had a surgery or something?
Yes, he had his foot taken off and he was in rehab over in Kokomo for about 6 weeks.
Wow. That's awful.
Yes, it is. And the gentleman that's taking care of his dog right now, I seen him out with the dog the other day, so the dog's in really good hands, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I heard the dog was in really good in the hands of a nice person. How did he get on? Did he get mixed up in all of this? Just
I
happened to
think
be
it's just the neighbor, just the
just doing
neighbor that
his.
actually, yeah, just doing I think he's just a really nice guy. And he's actually the gentleman that owns the little shop next to
The little tire
where,
shop.
yeah, well, not the tire shop because they're owned by two separate people. The little tinted
Mm.
wave there in town.
My
You
only
just
my only
go ahead.
my only issue with that gentleman is I just feel like if he was involved, I wonder if Keegan would have already maybe turned him in.
Right. That's why I'm thinking Keegan hasn't turned anybody in because I think he knows exactly who it is and he's not going to turn. Otherwise, I think he'd turn them in right away. If
It's possible
say it
because
was
Keegan, he's going to do life. He'll probably die in prison, regardless if he's convicted of the Delphi stuff or being, part of that. Regardless of that, he is most likely going to die in prison. So for him to turn in the only person that might send him money and bring him comfort, I just don't see, he needs to really be motivated,
right. I did
in my
hear that
opinion.
hasn't like given it, he's kind of like staying away from the county jail. But another lady in town here is taking care of TK because she's in love with it.
What?
So yes, I said, well, I
Yuck.
hope she's not healthy. I hope she's not wealthy. Maybe not so much healthy, but I hope she's not a real wealthy woman.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out.
And we still have all the court stuff, right, to look forward to for Keegan.
Yes, I believe that they're saying that the like, oh, what is it? Like the jury is supposed to be early September, and then it's that he goes up to the
Being
judge once that happens.
you're breaking up.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I might have a bad connection.
Yeah, it sounds like a bad connection.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, if you want to call right back in, if you want to try to call right back in, that's great. To see if we have a better connection. If not, you're more than welcome to.
I was talking to you because I don't have a very good connection. So it's nice chatting with you.
I think I caught some of that, but yeah, if you want to, just lost her. Let's see. Make a tough man squeal. Yeah, you better make the right connections quick. Yeah, I agree with that, art critic. Very strange. But the more and more that I listen to the audio, the more and more I can hear Keegan Kline's voice. Like, especially in the whole guys part. So, I mean, it's very possible this dude. The only thing we can't explain is why his phone was hooked up to that Wi-Fi, unless that was all part of his alibi. Because, I mean, technically it worked. Created reasonable doubt in the investigators, that's for sure. So maybe that's all he had to do. He knew the password. He knew the people that live there. Hook up to the Wi-Fi. Leave his phone there. Or the person who helped him, lives there and he left his phone there. Or whoever was using his account could have met Keegan there. Keegan could have stayed, and then they could have went to the bridge. Yeah, Shane, I mean, who knows? We don't know how related the Anthony Shots information is. We know that Keegan was casting out quite a big net. So there is a possibility that it's just a coincidence. They do happen, circumstantial information. So, I mean, it is possible. Because as soon as the Ron Logan information came out, people were like, see, I told you, I knew it was Ron Logan. It's like, what are you talking about? Are you not reading the information? Law enforcement already knew about this information when they started doing certain other things. I mean, think about what you would be saying about law enforcement if they didn't serve a search warrant on Ron Logan's property. Or if they didn't, harass him, or somehow the conspiracy would be, law enforcement's working with Ron Logan to cover up a murder. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I think Ron Logan was smart to do what he did. He let all these media onto his property, gave interviews. He tried to get ahead of it. Yeah, it said he was searching through porn. So if he wakes up at 8 a.m., he's logging into multiple phones. And I'm wondering if one of those phones is the same phone that was logged into the Wi-Fi. Why does he need two phones? It's almost like it's 8 a.m. All right, guys, it's time. We're going to go do this, It's time for the murder, Log in, log out, log in, log out. Let's track this person. Drive over here. Let's get some drugs or something. Let's get all, let's get all twacked out, basically. Maybe Keegan stayed back. Yeah, definitely grasping at straws, that's for sure. Just stating the obvious. Yeah, most likely. I mean, Poor Libby was victimized by this guy. He's a professional catfish. I mean, he's still catfishing all of you. He's convinced all of you that it couldn't be him. Well, like Mike Patty says on that, Holly, you know, you got to give law enforcement some credit. Like, that's the first thing they're going to do. Yeah, it could be on autoplay. But it also makes you wonder, did law enforcement do all that investigation where they go in there and ask, figure out who was over there at that location that day and all that stuff? Did they go through all of that? You know, because if it wasn't Keegan, Keegan's out murdering 2 girls, who was using his phone? Maybe it was some young punk who could be like, yeah, they all left here. They were grabbing masks. They grabbed a gun. They mentioned something about meeting at the bridge. You know, go find the guy that was on that phone if it wasn't Keegan. Yeah, Ken Maines, he's pretty good. Paul Holes. Everybody needs to get involved in this. This is such a strange case. But I think once the pressure's just too much, I'm going to pop. No, nothing new, Lorraine. Nothing new. But we definitely try to stay positive. Yeah, and 5 years in the scheme of things really isn't that much time. I mean, when I look about 5 years ago, I'm like, that, you know, the things that I were doing doesn't seem that long ago. If you have to ask April, it's probably not a good idea. But go for it. Yeah, Ken Means, I watch that channel all the time. Is Tobe who? Whose uncle? Yeah, it's beyond frustrating because with all the evidence and the crime taking place on a Monday in the middle of a day in a somewhat popular area, I mean, we know there was tons of people there, yet they can't figure out who did it. So the next thought is, okay, well, who's corrupted the case? How is this possible? So then that's when the conspiracies just, you can't help it. They just start coming. How do you not solve this crime? Especially if it's not Ron Logan. Okay, if it's not Ron Logan and it's not BW, and I'm sure they all looked into these people, then who is it? If Abby and Libby were with a group of people, why don't they want to tell us? They're not children anymore. They're all over the age of 18. I mean, if that's the information, we need to know that. Well, I won't say we don't need to know anything. We want to know. We should know, especially as a group. Like, I know all these names. You know, for years we've been looking into this case. I mean, I guess, yeah, we need to know. I guess it's safe to say that. Yeah, release more info. There was a cold case of 30 years plus, and they suddenly showed a blanket or a carpet. The body was wrapped. Suddenly someone knew that item and it was solved. I remember that case. I think it was a curtain. I think the body was wrapped in a curtain, and it was a very specific curtain. And yep, they were identified. And that was a good example. It's possible. Another connection that I find strange is the family that introduced Libby to the Anthony Shots profile is the same family that experienced the ski mask situation. So I mean, there's definitely something more there. Uncle Toad. Well, let's go ahead and send David Healy down the hill. Can somebody get him out of here? Piece of shit. They don't think about data. Yeah, they have. Well, I mean, depends on what type of cop. If you're a forensic cop, yeah. There's a video of the two men that actually looked at that video and did the editing on it. I don't think it was done at the FBI. I think it was done locally. Overlooked or that somebody swept? Because Repo Recon, that's kind of what has us so frustrated. It's like, how is this case not solved? You got the guy on the bridge, you got the voice. He's obviously local. How else would he know where the bridge was? How else would he know to take him down there? You know, just doesn't make any sense. And we go in circles with the corruption and the this and the that and the rumors and no, persevere, but I'm going to do another show just like this, if not tomorrow, on the following day. And you can call in. If you want to email me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com, we can organize something if you want. It'd be cool to have you call in. Dave says, if it's possible the actual killer isn't the bridge guy and someone else who was with the bridge guy, then all possibilities are possible. Everything's on the table. But you just can't ignore the most likely scenario that Keegan Kline did this on his own. He's had it. He's technically like an incel type of guy, catfish type of guy. And he was ready, possibly. You know, he's ready to, he's going to make him pay. There's a reason he's a catfish type person. He's pissed off about something. I just don't see that. Art critic. Armchair Observer says not solved because it's botched by buffoon cops, way in over their head. Now it's an ego issue and mad dash to keep their jobs. Yeah, the human element is always there, and the search and the corruption of the crime scene has been admitted by Kim Riley. He said there were searchers urinating near where they found the bodies. There were cigarette butts, people spitting out tobacco. He said they had a whole list of shit they had to deal with, and that could be what's holding things up now. In 1996 at Mazzio's, my brother was murdered in front of me. The man responsible is doing time. It's justice, but never closure. But I pray they get the person or persons responsible for the death of these angels. Well, Wanda, thanks for sharing, and I'm sorry that happened to you. And I definitely agree. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, there's a sharp-bladed weapon. And if it was accidental and somebody's dead and then you slice them, there's not going to be as much blood. They said it was extremely bloody. That means that most likely, whether they were taken and brought back and then killed, we don't know. Even Mike Patty said he's not sure about that. Nothing points to that. So, consensus is that's where they were killed, right where they found them. What they were doing there, even Ron Logan, no matter what he was being interviewed about or talking about, it was just blowing his mind. He's like, he was just so confused by the fact that how they got there. He always said somebody had to be walking with them. Why would they be back there? Eminem says, psychology of KK fits to my mind. He's not the best looking guy. He has no confidence in meeting girls, has to catfish, and if there was no sexual assault, it's because he's a voyeur. Yeah, he could have called them out and maybe just went out there and planned to watch them, maybe. But they could have been filming them the whole time. They could have been filming the sick. We hear the rumors about the guy in black and wearing a scream mask in the woods and all this stuff. What if they were filming all this other stuff, ahead of time and then tricked it, just like the whole Schillmiller thing where they thought they were filming a movie? Hey, we got to film this next scene, so duct tape your arms. And then once she was duct taped, that's when they killed that poor girl. So there could have been some weird scenario like that going on out there. Yeah. They need a press conference where they can just really answer a lot of these questions because they have information that only the killer would know. So as long as they hold on to that information, they need to release more. If anything, maybe even just the autopsy report, because maybe our profile is all wrong. Maybe they weren't violently attacked. Maybe it was just something quick or something completely unexpected. John Douglas says that. He says, that's the one thing that I wish I had was the autopsy and coroner's report so that he could build his profile. Yeah, Tobe could barely handle it. In his first interview, he was like, he couldn't even get his last name out. Tobe, Lazenby, and they all like kind of looked at him like, you all right, bro? I was like, damn. That's what made me know that the crime scene was bad. When Tobe was like, "Gosh, shaken up like that." Yeah, we have no clue what they know. For all we know, they have their guy and they're just waiting for that piece of information to prosecute. Like the case we covered yesterday, the Saunders case. They had these guys on video committing the crime and they tried to prosecute him. And right in the middle of it, they were like, "No, we got to drop the charges. It's not enough to stick," because you don't want that double jeopardy happening. Non-secular rumor mill stuff is Odinism. I haven't seen any evidence pointing at that myself. Yeah. And that'd be really difficult to deal with contamination. I mean, you think you're frustrated, imagine how frustrated they are. Odd people doing odd things. That's interesting. Dave says, "I think the fact that there was many agencies involved in the crime investigations, it could have been a problem, but I think law enforcement has done a pretty good job." You know, we hope that they have. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because, I mean, if somebody comes forward and admits to the crime and they can prove that it was them and it's somebody that was just sitting there the whole time, I'm going to be really pissed. I'll never listen to anybody again. I'm just going to do what I think, should be done. All right, guys. Well, we're over the hour mark. That's what I wanted to get in. We did have a great caller. Unfortunately, we lost the good connection with Bean. Thanks for calling in. We'll do this again in probably 2 days. Tomorrow, I think I want to have a members meeting. We've gone some time without really getting together. I figure there's a little bit of action going on with the whole BW stuff, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit. Thanks, Wanda. Thanks for participating in the chat. I appreciate that. Purdue, always good to see you. Jim. Yeah, Veronica, you and me both. I haven't seen the unredacted. That one wasn't shared with me. Yeah, thanks for participating, Armchair Observer, in the chat. Good questions and good points. Thanks, Vermillion. You too. You got it. Appreciate your participation as well, Art Critic. Jimmy Hoffa. All right, guys. On that note, I'll catch you later. Peace out.